Let's turn now to our local headlines this afternoon. Idaho Democrats are gearing up for a night of caucusing.
For Democrats who plan to make their voice heard, it's a big commitment. Scott Logan explains what happens at a caucus. He starts our team coverage.
Well, here at the Boise Center on the Grove, Democratic organizers have been urging people to show up as early as 5 p.m. Mountain Time. That's because when the doors close promptly at 7 p.m., nobody will be allowed inside as the caucus gets underway, and it could possibly all come down to the toss of a coin. Now, a caucus is simply a local meeting with party members where they express preference in their candidates. There will be 44 such meetings today, one for every county in Idaho. The caucus is run by the Democratic Party, not state or local government. People show up and sign a pledge that they're going to vote Democratic. But caucus organizers are not checking registration or IDs or anything like that. However, if a person voted in the March 8th primary, they cannot participate in the Democratic caucus this evening. After instructions and speakers for each candidate, the voting begins.
So it's not to win, it's to get allocated any delegates. So again, it's not a winner-take-all state, it's proportional. And so in order to get any amount of delegates, then you actually have to get over that 15% threshold.
And it could take as long as 3 hours. There could be at least 2 rounds of voting. And as I mentioned, at the end of the evening, if it comes down to a tie for delegates, well, then it could come down to a coin toss. Live at the Boise Center on the Grove, Scott Logan, KBOI 2 News.
And there are 4 choices on the Democratic caucus ballot: uncommitted, Hillary Clinton, Rocky De La Fuente, and he's a San Diego real estate developer, and Bernie Sanders.
If you plan to caucus tonight, you'll need to get your voting place soon. Voters will need to show up to their caucus locations between 5 and 6. Doors will close promptly at 7. If you don't know your caucus location, head to KBOI2.com to find out more. Idaho Democrats are hoping for the best caucus turnout in state history, they tell us.
Yeah, let's check in now with Jake Lieber. He's live in Caldwell at the site of the Canyon County caucus.
In 2008, Democratic caucus turnout hit a record high. Around 21,000 Idahoans took part. Numbers dropped significantly in 2012, mainly because Barack Obama was the only candidate on the ballot. But a spokesman says interest in the caucus has reignited this year. He says it's partially because there's still 2 major candidates, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, in the race. And a Treasure Valley visit from Sanders certainly helped.
Any candidate visits Idaho, it really reminds people that there's a race going on and that they've got a role to play.
Ferguson says more people pre-registered online in Ada County this year than ever before, so they're hopeful to break the record. Ferguson says that many caucus sites needed to either expand or completely change locations because of this expected high voter turnout. As you can see behind me here, there's some people waiting to get in the doors, and those doors, of course, open at 5 o'clock. Live here in Caldwell, Jake Lieber, KBOI 2 News.
Idaho voters aren't the only ones making their voices heard today. While 23 Democratic delegates are up for grabs here in Idaho, both Democrats and Republicans are going to the polls in Arizona and Utah today. In Arizona, 58 Republican delegates and 75 Democratic delegates are at stake. In Utah, it's 40 for Republicans, 33 for Democrats.